For the second time in just 4 weeks, the Lettermen Row Bold Prediction Show will preview a top 5 matchup in which Ohio State goes on the road. How did this happen? Twice in 4 weeks, you're playing a top 5 matchup on the road, and they say the SEC is tough. Get out of here. This is Big Ten football, and this is Lettermen Row's Bold Prediction. So it's Tim May, the 41-year vet, Sandy Backstrom, Spencer Holbrook, but you already knew that.
Can I interrupt real quickly?
Absolutely.
What was Oregon 3 or 4?
3.
They were 3. So this is basically, for the second time in so many weeks, it's a top 4 matchup.
Top,
right.
Yeah.
Because Ohio State was 2, Oregon was 3, Ohio State is 3, and Penn State is 2. No, Penn State is 3, Ohio State is 4.
Too many numbers. You've already complicated things.
So I'm saying narrow it down, be even closer to it, because this is a hell of a game.
And
we're
now,
looking forward to prognosticate.
Since you already got the party started, I'm going to Andy first on the bold prediction.
Sounds good.
Bold prediction, this is something I think needs to happen more than I think it's going to happen. I think Will Howard needs to run the football at least 15 times in this game.
Oh, the Urban Meyer plan.
Yeah, no, I believe it. Look, I don't know if I am as sold on the offensive line solution as you guys are. I think that you need to equate numbers in the run game. I think this Penn State defense is still really good, and I think you need to, look, Ryan Day has talked about the X factor. Will Howard is his legs. And this week, I thought it was a little bit confusing when they said that, we can't get him hurt, we can't put him in those situations, we can't run him to the ground. They brought Will Howard to win these games. They brought Will Howard to use his talents. One of his best talents is his legs and running the football. They need to run him 15 or more times in this game, and maybe he breaks one loose. So I'm going to say that they will, because I think they need to.
What's funny is I've got Urban Meyer on a bonus Tim May show this week, and he said, in essence, the same thing. Didn't give that big a number, 15, but says, you've got to run your quarterback in a game like this. Obviously, that was his default button on his play calling.
Right.
Was Braxton Miller, J.T. Barrett, until they ended up with Dwayne Haskins, who could throw the record-setting passer. But the bottom line is he believes the same thing. That can make the big difference for you, especially in a game where you've got a little bit of question mark about your offensive line, how crisp it's going to be, a new group playing together no matter how you stir it up. So I was going to go with that Will Howard thing, but I'm going to step back. I think one of these running backs will step up. My feeling is it's going to be Quinshon Judkins, only because I think they will be able to get these running backs to the second level. Quinshon never really got there last week, but he did score a touchdown on a pass play. I'm thinking Quinshon Judkins could have a 100-yard plus game rushing in this one. Final answer.
You have to remember that these predictions do not mean we're all predicting them in mass, as if they're all going to happen in the same game.
But
these are all
so far until you rock the boat, they could.
Well, that's a lot of running the football. Where I think Ohio State can do things well is throwing the football in this game, with the quick game, with some of those kind of things. Do you remember the first play of the game in the first game of the season when Jeremiah Smith should have had a touchdown on a screen pass?
Who doesn't?
Against Akron, and he dropped the ball. I think Ohio State is going to have 2 touchdowns of more than 50 yards in this game, and I don't think they have to travel very far through the air. I think Ohio State is going to use the quick game. We've seen them do it before. We saw it last year against Penn State. Used the quick passing game to their advantage. They got the ball to Marvin Harrison Jr. early, often, and quick. I think Emeka Egbuka is gifted enough to get the – I'll get to you, Tim.
No,
he's gifted enough.
I just got my hand up.
He's gifted enough to get the ball quickly. Jeremiah Smith is gifted enough to get the ball quickly. And I think both of them will be able to do some damage after the catch.
Okay. These are bold predictions. They did that last week with 2 big touchdowns.
But one of them was for 40 yards. I said 2 would be 50.
All 3 touchdowns were touchdown passes, and Carnell Tate got them going. My point is, Andy and I are being bold because they stunk running the ball last week, right? Stunk, stink, stunk, whichever one of those is.
It was bad.
They got to get that back on track. That's why I'm going bold with my Quinshon Judkins 100 yards. He's going bold with Will Howard, crazy legs Will Howard running 10 to 15 times. We're bold. You're just like reading the blueprint of what they haven't of what sets them apart. Because you can take away the running game and it can still beat you.
Well, okay, but they haven't had 2 50-yard touchdown passes since like C.J. Stroud. So that's pretty bold.
They could have.
Offensive player of the game, Andy.
It's got to be Will Howard. Again, these are things that need to happen. Like, he's got to play his best game in an Ohio State uniform. He's really good against Oregon. He didn't make the play when it mattered most, and that's really unfair to say, but it's just the bottom line. That's what people will remember from that game, is that he slid 1 second too late. He knows he can't do that again. It's going to be a homecoming for him. He's going to have a lot of family there. They brought him here to win these games. He needs to step up. I believe he will do what he needs to do, but there are more factors than just that, but I do think he will be Ohio State's most valuable offensive player in this game.
Yeah. It's going to be, if Ohio State wins this game and has a decent offensive performance, mine's already preset with just fill in the blanks like they do with the British Open, the Open Championship trophy. Have a guy stencil it in at the end. It's going to be whoever plays left guard and plays it well. That's going to be the MVP of this game for Ohio State offensively.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with what Andy said. I know we try to spread it out a little bit, but it absolutely has to be Will Howard. There's no, this offense will go as he goes. And this is, I've said this for a couple weeks now because I thought he played really well at Oregon, and I think it is unfair, but it is life, that he will be remembered for that slide. He played really, really well in that game. 28 of 35, I think, was his final stat line. He was, or I think it was something like the 22 of 30.
You're right.
Yeah, 28 of 35. He was fantastic. I mean, the throw to Emeka on the final drive was just wonderful stuff. If he slides 1 second early and they make a field goal, he's probably leading the Heisman Trophy race right now, like Dylan Gabriel is.
Yeah.
If he plays well in this game and they win, you will start to hear his name for the Heisman Trophy. He has, I think, 22 total touchdowns right now. If he gets 3 or 4 touchdowns in this game, you're going to be at 26 touchdowns, and you've got 2 cupcakes opponents coming up that you can kind of rack up some touchdowns against. Like, There's some possibility here where it can get rolling for him. I think he has to play well if they're going to win this game. He has to avoid pressure. He has to be good with his legs. He has to throw on the run. Like, everything that they want him to be as a quarterback for this team, he has to be on Saturday. So I'm going to go with Will Howard as the offensive player of the game. Defensive.
Caleb Downs, because Tyler Warren, Caleb Downs.
You got to take him.
We're all thinking this matchup, but I mean, I had to take it. If you give me number one pick, it's the most important matchup.
I'm acting like I'm upset, but that's not my pick.
Look, Tyler Warren is probably the best tight end in the country right now, and he's a dynamic receiver. And you got to use a safety or linebacker. You're better suited to use a safety. Caleb Downs, another guy they brought in from the transfer portal to win these big games. He's had a great season so far. Jim Thorpe Award semifinalist right now. This will be the biggest test as far as coverage goes for him. He faced Thomas Fidone last week, had that one catch that I'm sure he's not happy about where he ran into the official. They ended up in a 33-yard gain. He is going to get many more chances in coverage this week against Tyler Warren. I think he's going to have to step up, and I think he will.
He's going JT.
It just sounds like a kind of a stupid comment to make after yours, but I hope they don't waste him just on covering the tight end. I hope they activate him in all kinds of ways in this game because he can make a difference. So I would go another direction when it comes to that tight end, and a lot of guys because we saw the versatility of Jordan Hancock, for example, last week on full display. There are a lot of ways you can go with him in a linebacker, a bracket situation, things like that. My pick is it's kind of living on history, big time. But my pick is JT Julian, as his mom calls him, Tuimoloau. Will have another big game against Penn State at Penn State. This isn't like my pick for Ohio State to win 56-7 last week, but because, as I said, if Indiana can do it, why can't Ohio State? That blew up in my face. But I think Tuimoloau is fired up to make something happen on Saturday. And it's happened before, so I believe in history and I believe in heat. And to put those two H's together, JT Tuimoloau, defensive MVP, final answer.
It's crazy to me that one of the plays from the 2022 Penn State game has nothing to do with JT that I remember the most. Penn State lines up on 4th and 1 from I think like the 20-yard line. They're in the robust tee, as you like to say. They hand it off to one of their stud running backs. They've got just beef coming at you, trying to blow you back and knock you back so they can get that 1 yard. And some massive sophomore defensive tackle just squirts through and makes a tackle and stops them on 4th and 1, gets the ball back for Ohio State in a really tight game at the time. It was Tyleik Williams, and it was at a time where Tyleik, if we're being honest with ourselves, wasn't in great shape. I don't think he was working as hard as he does now. And he made that play, and it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
I didn't know he had that. I didn't know he could do that.
That just gave me goosebumps when you brought that out of mothballs.
I don't get that like I can't
Such a big play.
I can't get that play out of my head, and I haven't, because every time he makes a big play, I'm like, man, the first time I really saw it, it wasn't that Tulsa game where he had like I think 3 sacks as a freshman.
Yeah.
It wasn't even that. It was the sophomore year when he made that play against Penn State. We're like, this guy could be special. He has to be special on Saturday. They're going to have to rush the passer. They're going to have to get home with 4 at times. They're going to have to be disruptive in the run game. It all starts with Big 91 in the middle. He wants to be an All-American. Go prove it.
They got to contain Pribula.
Yeah,
They got to
exactly.
do all kinds of things on Saturday, or LR.
All right. Final score pick, Andy. What do you got?
Yeah, this has been one of the harder picks I've had to make. I am going to go with Penn State in this game. I'm going with logic this time, and logic tells me you're playing on the road. The spread is, 3.5, and Ohio State's the favorite, but you're on the road in Beaver Stadium, and you got a situation where you haven't been able to finish in the fourth quarter. I think this game is going down to the fourth quarter. I think Will Howard will play well enough to put them in position to win the game. I think it'll be like Oregon, where it comes down to the end, and I have just seen this team not been able to finish. I'm not saying they can't. I do think they can. But until I see it, I can't pick it. And so I'm saying Penn State 26, Ohio State 24.
I've got a video I can send you of last week's game when they did finish in the fourth quarter, made plays on offense.
Talking about top 5 matchups,
Well,
Tim.
I'm just saying.
Top 5
I mean,
matchups.
Dude, that might as well have been, because you lose that game, you're out of it. And I'm not picking at you.
You two
but
should fist fight.
I thought that was, I mean, even Ryan Day senses that was a major, maybe turning point for this football team. So I'm going with Ohio State 31, Penn State 24, and another classic. But I just like you pointed out a minute ago. This is the Will Howard. What's the word I'm looking for there? Revenant game. How would you describe it? Referendum game compared to the game at Oregon when he did almost everything he needed to do to win that game. I just see it, and plus I just see some slight mismatches, just skill-wise, in certain positions, which Ohio State's got to be seeing the same thing. And like you pointed out, the passing game, there will be things that can be made in this game that it's not just going to be, trench warfare. And I think Ohio State is better suited for the aerial game than Penn State is, because even though you want to run the ball, it always comes down to big plays. These games do. Usually in the passing game.
If you would have asked me on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or even Thursday, what I thought, I did think Penn State was going to win this game. I really did. I've stood over this game for a long, long time. Like I cannot figure out how Ohio State's going to win this game with the offensive line that it has. I have grown a little more cautiously optimistic about this offensive line, but I don't love the unit. I was dead set on picking Penn State, and then I remembered that Ryan Day has not been great in these top 10 matchups. There's one cure for the common top 10 matchup for Ryan Day, and it's Penn State.
I thought you were going to say James Franklin.
2018, they're down in the fourth quarter. He dials up just an absolute beaut of a drive to get them down the field with Dwayne Haskins and win the game.
Yep.
They were down 26-21. In 2022, they had no business winning that game because they were playing like dog crap through 3 quarters. I think it was a 16-14 game, and the Avalanche came. I don't think this team has Avalanche capabilities, but like,
I'm just imagining dog crap playing football.
the plays that are made in this game are always wild, and for some reason they're always tipped toward Ohio State. Even when Parker Washington was dominating that game in the first 3 quarters, 2 years ago, Ohio State found a way. I think this team, after the Oregon game, after struggling against Nebraska, just finds a way to get through this one. I don't think you have to look. It's got to be however muddy it has to be. I just think they find a way to win this game. I don't think it's going to be wonderful. I think you're all going to need to go see your heart doctor after the game. I'm sorry. Don't blame me. I'm just the messenger. I think Ohio State's going to win this game 27-23.
You don't sound that convinced to me.
I think Ohio State's going to win this game 27-23. Right on the number. Vegas always knows. Vegas likes Ohio State on a neutral field by 6.5 because the home field's worth 3 most of the time. So they like them by 3.5 because it's in Happy Valley. I think Ohio State will get it done by 4.
I just stayed with a conventional score, 31-24, because I've been bit on when I go off the beaten path.
So we've got one Penn State.
What have you got, Andy?
26-24.
We've got one Penn State. We've got two Ohio State. I believe Ohio State recruiting reporter over at LettermenRow.com, Alex Gleitman, also going to pick the Nittany Lions. So you're not alone. It's
look,
okay.
It's really the offensive line that gives you
Yeah,
the most.
no, look.
I mean, this-
Willies? You got the
Yeah, I
Willies?
mean, look, the defensive front of Penn State, they only need to bring 4 and they can get there. And they're going to put Abdul Carter along whoever that left tackle is. I think it's going to be Donovan Jackson. And I think Donovan Jackson's equipped to do that. The question is how much practice he's gotten. If you could tell me right now he's been practicing there since the off week, I'd feel a lot better. But we just don't know
Yeah.
that
Well,
right
we
now.
don't know.
So
I mean,
we
it's
just
the
don't
thing
know.
I keep thinking
Well-
about. I keep thinking about Penn State struggling with Bowling Green. I keep thinking
Yeah.
about struggling with USC,
Yeah.
an average to below average team. I keep thinking about last week at Wisconsin. They were trailing, at halftime and in the third. I think even going into the fourth quarter. Bottom line is, this is a team that has adjusted well in the second half and gotten some things done. But I don't know. Just that's if I'm looking at it from Penn State's point of view, that's what I would be concerned about is this team going to show up from the get-go?
Well, we could stand here, I'm serious, for probably 3 hours and talk about this game. But I unfortunately have to get over to Happy Valley so we can cover the game and actually see what
You should get a
actually
private
happens.
plane like Andy and I enjoy.
What actually happens on the field and not just projection on what will happen.
Plus helicopter.
It's still a lot of fun to do the projection on what will happen. That's why we do bold predictions every Friday. That's Tim May, the 41-year vet. That's Andy Backstrom. I'm just Spencer Holbrook. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll see you over in Happy Valley on Saturday for Ohio State and Penn State in Beaver Stadium at noon. If you can't make it there, get the Fox, but you might as well come join the party in State College. It's Ohio State, Penn State. It's going to be awesome. We'll see you there.